Hi guys, it's starting to warm up. That doesn't mean it's not going to be cold again, but I am so excited for spring. And I've been very busy working on planting areas. So I gave this raised bed some thought, and I realized that almost everything that I put in it is dead material. And it's very important for me to encourage life to come in here, most specifically worms. So let me show you a few things that I did to invite the worms in. And guys, I'm going to let them do all of the hard work for me. I am finished schlepping in heavy bags of soil. And what I put in here were sticks, mulch, peat moss, some finished compost that I purchased, and a little bit of native soil, which may or may not have had a few worms in it or worm eggs, but for the most part it was dead matter. So let me show you what we did. Let's go take a closer look. And the first and easiest suggestion I can make for bringing in worms is to just put pots on top of the soil. And when you do that, they come up and they stay under a sheltered area. So when it's really hot and the rest of the soil is experiencing evaporation, the pot is going to block that evaporation and the worms will congregate under there. Conversely, if it's too wet, they may want to take shelter under there, and it also might be warmer in the winter there. So there's lots of reasons why worms like to be under a variety of things: stepping stones, pots, also logs. They should come up under these logs. So that is the first easiest thing I did. The second thing is I could have added my finished compost directly in, but I didn't have, it wasn't finished at the time, but I have now put a couple of pots of compost on top. This is almost all rough compost here with just a little bit of finished compost on top, and I plan to plant in there, but it has holes in the bottom. Actually, all of my containers have holes, and the worms will come up and work on the compost in there, and what happens is they end up eating the material and leaving castings, and castings are nature's best fertilizer. So these systems are in place to continually fertilize as they are getting watered either by me or rain. And the water will go through that compost and take all those nutrients out, and it will go down into the raised bed. And the other reason why you want worms in here, of course, is to aerate this space so that the roots can easily move around as they grow after you put in your plantings. So the second pot over here is just a pot of leeks, and that I already had planted up, so I popped it in there. But under all of the pots, I took a further step. Oh, it's getting quite windy here. Lots of wind. But the second step I took to invite worms was, and let me see if I can tip this up for you, was to put some green material under there. I put some cabbage that I had left over. I had chopped up a cabbage, used it in a dish, and brought out what was left, and I popped that under there. So not only will the worms come under the pot for shelter, they will come up for the food. So and that will add more fertility. Of course, any organic matter you add to your beds is added fertility. So under all the pots, I put the green. So the first thing I did was to add the pots. The second thing I did was to layer them on top of some fresh green material. And the third thing I did is inspired by Robbie of Robbie and Gary's Gardening Easy YouTube channel, and she calls this a two system. And my two system just consists of two nursery pots that I had, and this is an experiment for me because I'm hoping it doesn't bring in the critters. I do keep compost piles. I have several around the property Actually, 3 of them are back here, so they're pretty concentrated. But I avoid putting any meat or dairy in there. But with this one, because a heavy pot of soil is sitting on top, I did add some salmon skins along with some compost and more fresh green material. So hopefully the top pot is going to keep it from being raided by any critters, and as are the logs that are around it. I'm going to hopefully keep any critters from digging down and tossing my pots aside. But guys, this is what I have done in preparation for spring to try to bring some life to the bed and some fertility. I've decided I'm going to have the worms do the hard work from now on. And, you know, it's wonderful. Thank you to Robbie for the inspiration. It's much easier and it's very natural. And I'm excited to try all of this out in my brand new bed and have these systems in place, because I can come along and add more material under the pots or into the bottom of the 2 system. And on top too, this also has more compost. This is mostly compost. So I have 2 layers of compost, but all of this will leach down into the bed, and the worms can go in and out. If it fills up with water, they can move out of the pot, or they can move to the top. So the worms have free reign going through in and out of all the pots. And when it rains, all of that nice fertility will fertilize my bed and in turn fertilize my plantings this summer. And I'm hoping to put squash and pumpkins in there, and they need a lot of fertilizer. So we'll have to see how it works, and I'm really looking forward to, instead of showing you dirt, to showing you some growing things pretty soon. So I hope you're having fun in your garden, and I'll see you next time.